Okay, so today we are going to think about how the hamstrings work to help propel us forward when we're walking. I think a lot of times when we think about hamstrings, we think about a hamstring curl, right? But that's not how your hamstring works when you're walking. Your hamstring actually works as part of the posterior chain of muscles that help to propel you forward. So I like to think about the hamstring muscle as when we step onto the leg, it's actually already kind of pulling. So when your knee bends, it's in this, we call it closed chain because your foot is attached to the floor. So as you kind of pull back, it's like your hamstring is pulling you forward to then take the next step. So we're gonna look at it through a couple of different exercises. So we're gonna start with laying down on the mat because I think that's the easiest way to kind of feel your hamstrings in what we're gonna call that closed chain where they're attached to the floor. So just make your way down to the floor, however it is that you wanna get down to the floor. And normally if we're doing like just a shoulder bridge or a pelvic lift, we bring our legs in really close like this, but since we're not doing that, we're going to actually have our legs further away from each other. But still try to have your feet planted to the floor to start. So only thing you're going to do here is think energetically dragging your heels towards your butt and then release. And then you drag your heels towards your butt and then you release. So what I'm focusing on is two things. I'm focusing on it when I drag my heels, I feel like I physically am moving, in this case, towards the ladder. So I'm pulling and then back. So if I was looking at one spot in the ceiling, I'm pulling myself slightly under the spot and then I'm returning. So it's literally just a pull and a return. So it doesn't have to be like a huge hamstring engagement. It's just a little tiny hamstring engagement and release. Tiny hamstring engagement and release. Little hamstring engagement and release. Now take one leg up, doesn't matter which leg, and it doesn't matter how it's up. It just is not on the floor. And then you're gonna do just the other leg. So it's a little pull and release. So you might feel that you feel a little wobbly when you're in this position. So I feel like I kind of rolled a little to the left. So I'm going to bring my hands onto my pelvis and try to keep straight as I do this single leg pull, where I'm still getting that sense that I'm pulling towards the ladder or the wall and back. Pulling towards my heel and then away from my heel. Pulling towards my heel and away from my heel. And we'll do two more. Pulling in and back, pulling in and back. Put the other leg down. I'm going to do a quick peek to see if my legs are in the same place. And they're very clearly not in the same place. So I'm going to have to move my left leg forward. Sometimes our eyes are our best visual, our best sensory cue. Especially if we kind of don't know where we are, we sometimes need to see where we are. So I'm bringing the other leg up, and I'm going to pull and release with my left leg. And I actually stay more square to my pelvis here, like I don't feel like I'm tipping to the side. So I'm going to pull and release, pull and release. We'll do four more, and you can do it with that visual cue where you're coming underneath something you're looking at. I like to have that sensory cue of that I feel myself moving. I actually feel my shirt kind of riding up the tiniest little bit and then moving away a little bit. And then let's do two more. Pulling in one and pulling in two. So now I'm going to bring my other foot down and they're still not even. So I'm going to do my little visual thing to see if my legs are on the same level. And then this time I'm going to pull with my feet towards me and then I'm going to see if I can lift my hips up. So I'm not going to lift them up high. I'm going to hover them off the floor and now I'm feeling my hamstrings in a really big way because of how kind of separated I am. And I'm just going to lower my butt back down. So I'm not doing that kind of articulated rolling through your spine thing. I'm just pulling with my feet, hovering my butt off. Now, if you get any kind of cramp or anything when you're doing this, try walking your feet closer to you. The further away they are, it's just a little bit harder. So pulling in, lifting your butt up, and then see if you can lift your feet off the floor, but keep your heels down on the floor. And then see if you could pull in a little bit more, and then maybe a little bit more, and then maybe even a little bit more. And then let your feet lower down, let your butt lower down. Kind of reset, ready that one more time. So pressing down into your feet, lifting your butt off, flexing your feet. You're gonna pull towards the wall, pull towards the wall, pull towards the wall. If you want to make it more challenging, see if you can lift your arms up towards the ceiling. You might really feel your hamstrings here. And then go ahead and lower your butt, lower your feet, hug your knees into your chest, and then just rock yourself up to seated. So remember what that kind of sensation was of the pulling with your foot. We're going to actually replicate it in a split stance, which is more of like a gate stance. So let's do right leg forward because I'm right-handed and also my right side is my better side. So if you have your right foot down, we're just going to do a little hip hinge. The hip hinge is more to connect with the back side of your body than anything else. And then all you're going to do is try to hold on to the wall if you need to. I was feeling like I want to hold on to something, so I'm going to hold on to the wall. Because we're going to try to create that pressure that we're pulling with our hamstring. And you might be pulling yourself forward just like the tiniest little bit, but at the same time that you're pulling forward with your leg, the other leg is actually almost pushing forward. So we have this idea of we're pulling with the front leg and pulling the opposite direction with the back leg. So that then when we would come forward to take a step, we would switch, and then the pull, kind of a pull push, happens in the other direction. We're going to stay with the right side. For now, I'm actually going to turn, so maybe you can see the degree to which I want my hamstring to engage. And I have very skinny legs, so imagine I don't. So if I pull with my right leg, you should see that my right hamstring is kind of engaging there. And then if I'm pulling in with the other leg, you should see, let me turn this way so you can see it. You might see that this quad kind of turns on a little bit. So I'm trying to get that sensation of pull and release. Now add on to that one little thing, which is that when you start to pull your right heel back, that we're kind of using your hamstring, let your pelvis rotate the tiniest little bit to the right, and then release. Create that double pulling sensation, and release. Create that double pulling sensation, and release. A couple more like that. Pull, pull, with that tiny little rotation, and release. Pull, pull, and release. Then we're going to switch legs. So left leg in front, right leg in back. We have that little hip hinge. And then we're going to think about taking that left heel, and you're going to pull it back as your right goes forward. Now, if you feel like your right foot is really turned out, just turn it in. So we want to think about your legs being parallel or even biased towards that back foot being slightly internal. So you pull and release. Pull and release. So that pull, again, is that pull to like help us take steps forward, which we're going to do after we do this. Create the pull, and add that slight rotation. It's the tiniest little rotation. So I'm trying to feel like my feet could take this mat, which they can't because it's a sticky mat and it's sticking, but that I could pull the mat closer towards each other, like if I was on a towel, and then spread the mat back out. Pull the mat closer in and spread it back out. Let's do two more. Pulling it in and spreading it out, and pulling it in and spreading it out. I'm just turn this way for videotaping purposes. And same thing we did, I just switched back to the right foot. So start the pull with that right leg. So you really want to feel like almost like you're doing a hamstring curl, except you're not really going anywhere yet. So keep that sensation that you're pulling, and then see if you can take a step forward. And when you take a step forward, logically the back heel lifts off just to create more room. So then try to pull with your left, and then you take a step forward. Pull with your right, and then you take a step forward. I have a very short runway here, so I'm going to go back to the beginning of the runway. So left foot forward, right heel can be lifted off. You create that pull in two directions, and then take a step. Pull, and it's like keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, and you step through. Keep pulling, and you step through. So I am in a little bit of that hip hinge, and that's really just to keep, that's working on something else for me, which is that I hyperextend my legs. But honestly, if you're walking, your knees should have that little bit of a bend when you're walking. So when you have that step forward, it's already starting that hamstring pull to kind of take you back. So let's do just a couple more like that. So right foot is down, left heel is up, pull yourself forward, step. Pull yourself forward with the left, step. And I'm also there's other things we add into it, which is me trying to get my body stacked over the leg that is the front pulling leg. If you want more neuro-focused workouts, hit like and subscribe, and we will keep making them for you. We usually post a workout once a week, and we post a neuro EDU, just little bits of information that can make life living with a neurological condition or make understanding neurological conditions easier, also about once a week.